How good is Iquam at pretending to have strategy? Or at least tonight?
Nah,
Looks
19
like
deception.
Iquam at least is pretty good.
So
Whether
last
or not
night,
I'll have any success, who knows?
last night we started with Farku playing June. Looks like we're going for a little bit of a walk here, but in fairness, or we'll settle this. We'll settle it Settlers of Catan style. Trustafluff, aka Jeremy, aka Woo Woo, we ended with you last night. You placed the last village on Catan Island. Therefore, you get to place the first village in the second round of village placement. And we're going to work our way back from you across the board. And so, if you want to give a little intro, you have a little +1 because there's a channel that you are a part of that I'm sure you'd love to talk about, and then of course give us some insight into Woo Woo. What's he thinking and what's happening.
Yeah, so glad to be back, of course, Matty. I'm a little surprised that you didn't evict me between yesterday and today, but you know what? Your mistake is my triumph. I am one of the co-dungeon masters over at twitch.tv/DnD Time. I am the Jeremy of Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time. And yeah, like you were saying, I'm playing Woo Woo Wakusi. So I don't know if we've heard Woo Woo's last name, nor does it matter. So yeah, Woo Woo's just a little kobold. He doesn't have any arms, and he transforms into monsters. But yeah, I know it's been a really weird night. I mean, I'm gonna be real. It's been really weird. Normally these adventures have a lot more guidance. Like, when Bartholomew sends us on something, we kind of know where we're supposed to go. It's last time I had an adventure, I had to go save the railroad, and I could just follow the railroad right to the end, and it was real easy. I've been really confused today. I don't know what's been going on. We're supposed to find a zip of flour. We're supposed to go to the ship when everything's frozen. Why do you want ships when it's frozen? We found a Sudoku puzzle, I think is what they called it. No, yeah, I mean, I know Sudoku, he's a powerful wizard, and he leaves his puzzles everywhere. But anyway, now we're on Turtle Island. I love Turtle Island, so really, I think it's been a pretty successful trip so far. We murdered some random people just trying to make a living. It's pretty typical adventuring. I mean, so far so good.
I'm sure Bartholomew will take care of them.
I'm still really confused, though. I really hope I get my Bartholomew bucks for this.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to address that after the summaries here. If there's anything else, is there anything else, Woo Woo, or shall we move on?
No, it's all good. I mean, I don't like the sound of that, we'll address the Bartholomew bucks thing. I like it more like, hey, here's your Bartholomew bucks, good job. That's the one I want. Can we try like that, Matty? Let's try again.
Try.
Can I have my Bartholomew bucks?
You see, there's a planar. Okay, and that's your answer.
That was more Bartholomew than my Bartholomew.
That was a pretty good
ask for money and mumbles and stop stalking.
Very good.
Yes. All right, let's move back down. Placing your second village on the Catan map, we're going to go to Cold Spark playing Iquam. Take it away. What is going on? Cold Spark with you briefly, or what's going through the mind also of Iquam?
Iquam is slightly grumpy that he didn't get fourth nat properly, and so he's slightly peeved with Bartholomew. But I mean, he got to shoot things, so all in all, it's not terribly bad. And now now we're on some sort of island, and it looks very turtleish. But we'll see what tonight has in store.
You sound optimistic, at least.
Never hurts to be optimistic, at least until proven otherwise.
Guess we were wrong.
Very well. I hope your optimism is a beacon of light in these cold, dark times, Equam. Unless there's anything else to add, let's go over to Pete, who's piloting the character.
Kringle. Kringle Whippersnap, but as much like Wikuzi, my last name is irrelevant. I'm playing Kringle. Kringle is a gnome wizard from the region of Sokotoa who is a toy maker. I gotta tell you, Matty, Kringle is... Kringle's having maybe a touch of a hard time with the whole situation that they're in right now. He's very cold. He thought he was going to be on vacation. And man, this weather is just biting through. And he also... There's a lot of negative attitudes in the air, and Kringle doesn't handle confrontation very well. His cup died. Really, Kringle's having kind of a rough winter solstice so far.
Now, you still have that cup, though, correct? You took it with you? Or is it...
You have the remains of it,
Okay.
but I do have to use the 3rd level spell slot to get it back, and it's not really worth a 3rd level spell slot.
Okay.
As the
How
cup,
dare you, sir?
The cup was very effective in that given moment. But
I would like to point out it's actually not your cup, it's Roger's cup you borrowed from him.
that's a good point. I can still mend the cup. It just won't be animated. Thank you for reminding me of this, though. I'm glad I have this cup still.
Yeah, it is a dark green ceramic cup, and it says "someday" with the A being a yellow star.
Roger, it would seem, has some very big goals and aspirations.
Really, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I wish him all the success in the world. And Matty, I
Yes.
would be remiss if I didn't say we're playing in Pete and Jeremy's DnD Time, the world thereof, which we're not doing anything in for the rest of the year. But if you're watching and you want to play in that,
Yes.
go to our website at www.dndtime.stream and learn about this whole place. There's a whole lore doc if you're interested in that, where you can learn like what all of these absolutely outrageous things that we're talking about in the world building elements of this place are. And we have a great community. We play one-shots with the community. It's really fun. We'll be back next year, although we are done for winter. I think all we have left is the one-shot that I'm running tomorrow just for kind of funsies. But that is that's Kringle.
Very good. Now we are going to end. Farku playing June got to get that sweet spot on the Catan map with the first village, but you know what? The price you pay is your second village goes on last. And so Farku, or should I call you June, to get us into character? What is happening with June? What's going through his mind? What's his mood? Bring us a little bit into tune with your character.
Into tune with June. All right. Well, luckily these fools all forgot about they needed stones, so I'm just gonna place my stone like right over here, and it's my good spot, you know, by the 6 and the 8, where you get the most likely probability for resources. No, I'm just kidding. Enough settlers of time. Well, 你好，大家，女士们、先生们好，你们都怎么样？我叫我感觉，oh wait, shoot, I'm sorry.
Farku's flexing on us real hard with those language models.
On you, boom.
Yeah, I can only you know, Skoshi no Hongo wo hanasemasu.
Right. 但是刚才我是在说的中文，还是日语，还可以说一点，但是我的日语不怎么样，还可以说什么 Cantonese, like 然后。But
please translate for the layman here.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the immersion into the monk character for sure.
Sorry, but yes, I'm sort of worried. We're at the turtle place. It's pretty cool here, but at this rate, I'm going to miss my sister's piano recital. Oh no, very bad news. We need to get this adventure sorted and save the winter solstice.
I didn't know there were so many. I didn't know there were stakes that we have to get you back in time for the Winter Solstice cycle. You better go much quicker this time.
I know. I just realized myself. I saw it in the dream.
Ah, yeah. June, we opened up with you possibly having a little bit of insight into things. And you know what? On that note, seeing this in a dream, having this panic of missing your sister's piano recital, I would, if you would indulge me, would you please roll another insight? And you can do this at advantage.
Actually, I do not know if my sister has a piano recital. I am just guessing because I have many sisters and brothers.
All the same, I will grant you the advantage on the similar check.
Very well, I shall roll. Aye, that's pretty cool.
You're in tune.
That's a lucky number.
You're in tune with the dreams a little bit more. This one, I guess, was vague. You didn't really see the sibling. Or was that a piano, or was it something? Well, all the same, something important could be happening soon that you should be there for, because you have a large family, and yet your family is, you have a good bond with them. You're just getting a weird vibe. Your dreams have just been kind of odd lately. But a little fuzzy, but maybe it's the cold, maybe you've just been busy with thises and that's. But I'll tell you, speaking of thises and that's, we're going to pick up back on Turtle Island, which does look a lot more frosty than even what you see here, though much like the picture that you see on screen, this is an island that is on the back of a very, very large turtle. And upon the turtle are turtles. It should be noted as well that this is a resort island, and so you would also need to imagine that there are a lot of little thatched roof huts and barca loungers or whatever, the beach loungers, Adirondack chairs. Oh, there we go. You can't have a resort without some nice Adirondack chairs.
All the drinks have umbrellas.
Yeah, all the drinks even have umbrellas, and of course, what or where is the Adirondacks? Who knows? So it looks nice, and you would normally find a lot of people doing touristy things here: swimming, fishing, boating. Wearing appropriate gear or swimwear for the season. However, everyone who brought their bathing suits is in for a bit of a chill, as the waters around the giant turtle have frozen, also locking in boats and ports. There's just a layer of snow, and when you all manifest after solving this riddle that washed ashore, that was linked with Zuzip's ship, you were teleported there. You must have completed some kind of a connection with her ship, and you had found it. And it certainly was not in Buckler's Bay, where it was supposed to be. Instead, it is frozen to a dock on Turtle Island. And when you manifest, you are surrounded by bunny folk, which, by the way, for all of you out there, if you go to the homebrew section of the DnD Time website, you can check out the bunny folk, which is a race that was built there, and have fun playing. There are also some other Florins, which are vegetative people. They're plant-like, and there's also one that is there's a cactus that kind of just oddly sticks out and speaks with a bit of a drawl, who doesn't quite fit in, but he's there all the same, and a couple entothropes, which are werebugs, and you can also check out werebugs in that homebrew section. They're dressed as sailors, and you can look around, but it takes a moment because all of your bodies have a layer of ice covering it. And just, even if you're not the strongest character in the world, so I'm looking probably at Kringle, and maybe Woo Woo in a natural state.
Woo Woo's got got a 12 strength, I'll have you know.
But you don't have the arms to do the flex. You can flex your legs.
It's fair, yes. It's true. You have a very strong leg.
Woo can do a lot of squats.
Yes. With some movement and kind of wailing around, just these chunks of ice fall off of you, and you are cold. And if you recall, when you had a sending cast to you by Bartholomew, there was your ears were frosty, and then when you also teleported, there was a similar cold effect. Now you've manifested and you've had ice on you, and things seem to be getting worse for kind of a magical travel of sound and people. It's as if just everything is getting cold and freezing up, even a resort island like this. And so you break out of the ice, though you did have an energized reaction from the crystals that were taken, and you did get invigorated. Though we're technically still in the same day, but it's not necessarily between you and me, DM to PC. It's not really going to matter. So if you took a long rest, that's fine. We're technically in the same day, but you do appear. You're surrounded by all manner of sailors, and let's pick up here.
All right.
Oh, we
wow.
made it.
Guys, look, this guy's a cactus.
Actually, what are we doing here? I
Is
thought
this-
we were looking for Zuzips.
I think this is
Yeah,
it.
I mean, more or less.
Y'all
I
looking
just-
for zoo zips? Says the cactus.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Well, she's a little preoccupied with our VIPs down in the hold.
We were sent by Bartholomew to escort Zuzip and your VIPs back safely. Apparently, they were a little late on their transport mission.
Well, yep.
All right.
So, can you take us to her?
Reckon nope. Been told not to disturb the VIPs. It's Mama and her little baby boy down in the hold there, and Zuzip's been spending some time. However, I can tell you that I can tell her y'all have arrived. She might come out to meet you. But ain't none of us going nowheres until we can actually break free of this dock. The ship's been a little battered. You all can probably see the chunk taken out, and he waves a cactus pad over in a direction, and you certainly can see that a chunk of the ship has broken. It was broken up and broken off.
Okay.
But
We'll wait right here.
well,
Don't mind this, but I point at the gigantic. I point at the gigantic toy soldier that's probably crashed down onto the deck. Like, this is fine, by the way. That's mine.
What is with that box? Do we still have that box, by the way? Also,
Okay, do we still have that?
yeah,
No.
you have the completed placard that you made. Well, I can take that. That's there's a signal. What for getting to the ship? Seems that you had some providence looking out after you to found it and to find us.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. What kind of
well,
famous
it's
adventure?
almost like a plot device.
Well, could you go and let Zuzip know that we're here?
Reckon I could. Y'all wait here a moment.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
I just kind of wait. I look around and
Yeah.
I'm nodding nervously to the other people on the ship, but just trying to look like I belong.
Yo, why are you so nervous?
Does
I'm
the ship
sorry, go ahead.
I assume this is a big sailing ship with several masts.
Yeah,
Matty?
yeah. It has several masts. It is. I mean, It's certainly not like turtle size, like island on a turtle size, but it is an impressive ship, as befitting her work.
Iquan climbs up one of the masts just to get up and have a little bit of a look around, see maybe how far the ice goes, see what else is going on.
June, are you staying warm by by doing some katas here to practice? It is very cold.
Yeah. I need to train as well. It's hard to move when you're all stiff and full.
All right. Now, when you're spending time here, hopefully that your cactus messenger got the message there, and as you're on deck, you're seeing that the Zuzip sailors. There's a lot of grumbling. You look at them, and on first glance, you're like, oh, bunnies, or oh, flowers, and all these lovely things. But there's an awful lot of grumbling going on, and in addition to the grumbling, there's some turtles going around on the docks, and there's hey, and they're in a turtly voice, hey, yeah, hey, y'all got trying to speak your language. Where's that cactus? Hey. Would one of you like to attend the turtle that's shouting up?
No, go say hi.
Iquan just kind of one claw stuck into the mast, waving with the other. Oh, hello!
I'm watching.
Hold on, now. No, you all weren't on the ship when you came in. Whoa.
Yeah, we're magic. I'm magical.
Well, a lot of...
Almost kobold, of course I'm magical. What do you expect?
Well, we could certainly use some magic around here. Things are just... And the turtle is kind of is grumbling, and ever since your ship came sailing in, it just seems like everything's been...
Not my ship. Not my ship.
We didn't sail in on anything. We just appeared here and followed this, and I can hold up the puzzle.
Would Woo Woo or Kringle, one of you can make a perception at advantage as both of you are addressing this turtle.
You want to grab that? Woo-woo?
Well, I mean, I suppose I could. 26.
Ooh.
Woo Woo, this turtle has a similar kind of a black sheen to its eyes that you've seen in Buckler's Bay. And it's matching a very grumpy disposition.
Yup, no, I got it. Hey, June! Well, actually, I want to be more discreet. I turn away from the turtle. Hey, June!
Hi, what's up?
June, I think this guy needs to get punched in his face.
Oh, how hard?
Wink!
I get you. I pinch. Alright, I punch Boo in the face.
Ah! Oh, my teeth! Wait, I don't have any arms to hold my face.
And once more, as a reminder, you do not hear the "there's no PvP in the lands of D&D time." That warning does not come up.
Oh, there goes my beautiful face.
Oh,
So
strange. Usually I hear Bartholomew whenever there's somebody.
yeah.
To be able to do that.
Perhaps Bartholomew being off on... What was it again? Did he say Earth? Oh, I don't know.
I think he was in the plane of dreams.
Wherever he is. Maybe because he's there and not here, his warnings aren't working.
Do I take damage?
Yes.
Oh. Ow. How much damage do I take?
That's for June to roll.
Oh, God, June, what the hell? What the hell, man?
Well, does June even hit? Whoa!
Oh, my God, I'm dead.
So June apparently deals 96,203 damage to Woo Woo.
What the?
In the original Big Bag Bonanza, that would have been wicked good. That would have been a real item.
Yeah,
You
so
could have gotten like a... That's maybe not heave y'alls, but it's close.
That's
I'm gonna take like a point of damage for
Sure.
unarmed strikes without mug stuff. Ow.
So this is it's a really good roll on a D100,000.
Yeah, that was really good.
Naturally. Let me think. What's going on?
There's you have this interaction. The cactus comes back. Zuzip's a little preoccupied at the moment still. However, and he looks over. Oh, he's back. The locals here on Turtle Island's been getting really fidgety like, and they ain't taking kindly to really not even each other, let alone the tourists, let alone those who, well, like us, are just sort of here as a refuge. You see, we were sailing back, and when we were crossing over the trench, it just got really cold back from where we was, and then I wasn't up on deck at the time, and I heard and felt and everything. The whole ship was just rocking, and I ran up to the top deck, and wouldn't you know it, we ran not even into an iceberg. It was apparently there's legends that out in the ocean there's something called Ambush Island, and it ambushed us. Septon,
Well, it seems like that name is very appropriate, good sir.
It's true. It's a terrible place.
Septon, the whole place was frozen solid, as if it were an iceberg, but it weren't. And it didn't even vanish back. It's just like wherever it was now frozen where it is, and where it is where we was. This cactus is conjecture and you know, his tenses are getting all flip-flopped. But you know what, he's a cactus, you can forgive him. It sent us quite into an emergency state, broke off that huge chunk of ship what must have floated to the Crimson Coast. Fortunately, where we were close to was Turtle Island here. We came in right ahead of the cold, and when we docked, well, everything really was freezing up even more than it already was.
Oh dear, that
sounds bad.
seems
Probably.
very, very bad.
That weren't.
Did you do this?
Did I? No, I ain't done nothing.
Is it specifically your fault? Like you, just you?
I swear on all my spines, I ain't responsible for a lick of this.
All right, sounds good to me.
But we gotta get out. I overheard the turtles talking that there was some sort of old system for what was, you know, if they ever got into the frigid waters, but they ain't never been into them frigid waters for a while. If that system was getting up and going, I reckon we might be able to get out of here, and I'm sure the turtles, well, as grumpy as they is, and I thought they ain't, but they is. Rather persnickety about us now. Just something off. Maybe it's the cold. It's supposed to be all solsticey. They even put some twinklers and some sprinklers and some other things what don't have to rhyme with them words on their palm trees. They're all ready for solstice, but you wouldn't know it by walking amongst them.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
So, do you know where this these inner workings are? How we can get to them and free things up?
I don't. I've been helping to try and get the ship. The ship's mostly patched up. It's just, it's functional. We just got to break free the ice. We can't do that until whatever system they have in place to help solve the icing problem is done. I'll tell you, that grumpy turtle down yonder, I bet he could tell you. He's been here harassing us about every day. I think he's one of them. He's one of them big swaggering shells here on the docks, and I think that he could tell you what needs done.
Well, then we'll head over there now and see if we can find anything out about it from him. Shall we all away?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good idea, to be honest. Like, you guys, it's gonna work, like, right. That's, like, what we want.
And I think while he was having this conversation, Kringle's been kind of in the background for most of it. Kringle has been casting Reri's telepathic bond, if that is cool to have been doing during this time frame.
That is absolutely cool.
Wonderful.
It is cooler than cool. It is ice cold.
We have all been linked telepathically. We can read each other's minds and hear each other's thoughts, insofar as we desire to do so. And I think to everyone, all right, I've linked up our minds telepathically. I'll try not to think anything too distracting. If you guys could do the same, that would be great. But it is helpful. No, not. I was gonna say we should. Oh no.
Oh, please. Think quieter.
No, my catchphrase.
Now, the gangplank's over yonder if y'all want to take a mosey down it.
Yeah, let's go. And begin to up and step over to this individual, this portal.
All right, as you do, the turtle is sitting there, hands on the sides of his shell, just shaking. What do you need now? People, we don't have a lot of food. All our guests have been eating everything that we have.
We have our own food. We have our own drink. We were just hoping that we could perhaps help you. We were told that you might know how we could see about getting some of this ice cleared out.
Y'all, hey,
Yeah.
am I using y'all right? And the cactus looks over. Y'all, it's all right. Am I talking? I want to accommodate our guest. He's looking at you still, has a frown. And all of you can see that he's really close. He has the glitter in his, that dark glitter in his eyes.
It's not fully taken over, but he's getting there.
Well, it's not the half. He is like, he's full, but he's really close now and eyeing you. Okay. Try my best to accommodate all guests. It's really, really grating on me. If you're here to work, though, and you can help us, I'm not going to turn that down. Now, I have a couple jobs, if you'll follow me then.
All right. I look over towards I cast the telekinesis spell on my big toy soldier, and it starts to clunkily its way over, and picks me up, and I ride on its shoulders. I look down. Ooh, are you an animal right now?
No,
Aren't you always woo?
Would you like a ride as well?
Yeah, that'd be great, thanks.
I send the other hand down to pick up Woo Woo.
Appreciate
It looks more like a toy soldier than a woodwode, which is what the stat flat is based on.
Okay, so you follow the turtle who's grumbling, ends up bumping into someone else, and their shells collide, and both of them just get into a, maybe they're snapping turtles because they're really snappy at each other. And again, everything seems to be solstice themed. The presentation is there, albeit it's cold on this tropical island. But these two turtles, and it's not just the two turtles. You're running into some others, and there's some guests here. There's a couple halflings that are here, and they're saying something about. And I want to speak to the manager. We came here on vacation. We lost a third of our family on that darn game show last year. We just want to try and get a break. And the turtle's like, well, you shouldn't have come here then. I didn't know it was going to happen. Apparently you can see it, and this is just animosity. We have a turtle yelling at a halfling family. The halfling family is grieving, apparently. It's something about a game show. They lost some of their kindred on it. But they're just here to take a vacation over the solstice, but it's turning out to be as it is. Your guide, is like, everywhere this is happening. And you know what? It's shell madness. We're all just going crazy because we're all pent up.
go ahead and think that guy.
I will. What are you thinking?
No, I'm not really thinking much of anything, to be honest.
I'm just hey, I want to help you out as soon as we can. So, if you don't mind, sir, if you could just, can you tell us a little bit about the place that we're going to right now? What is it? What is this? We were told there was like a back entrance to help clear out some of the ice.
I'm taking you to the Laborers Guild here. Plenty of stuff that needs done. Yeah. All kinds of people doing extra shifts. It's working us to the bone. And we could use the help. And you're going through Tortletown here. I mean, you're again. It's further reinforcing, and all of you are seeing most of the Tortles, like a high most. Almost all the Tortles have that black shimmer filling their eyes. There is an occasional one that seems to only be partly filled, and those you don't need to roll an investigation or an insight. The ones you see come by, there's just a way that they walk. There's a hum in their turtly voice boxes. They're carrying themselves differently. They have a different approach, a different attitude. But now you go into the guild hall, which is beautifully decorated. You know, because you have crafters from all over Turtle Island who have contributed to this. And sure enough, there is a job board. You're given some introductions. They're here to work, and some other, they better work here. Taking up our resources and and it's all selfish. It's all, one more thing, one more person. And you can see that there are several jobs that need accomplished on Turtle Island, since they are trying to work to get this is an old system. They've just not had to utilize it in so long, because they either stay ahead of the cold weather or they just don't go into it that often. And so the jobs that they're looking to have done, they need someone to gather dry seaweed and driftwood for fuel, for the big boilers. They need someone to scour or repair the clogged heating pipes that are going underwater. To help heat the underside and go and up through. There's also some cracks in the shell that obviously it's uncomfortable for the turtle, but it's also letting out heat that this shell could be trapping to make everything more efficient. And someone is needed to just calm the tourists, because they're presumably, even though it's a captive audience, they're losing reputation, they're losing money, if not now into the future, as they're holding on to things. They just need someone to do some kind of damage control, and everyone is just too short-tempered and too grumpy, despite the solstice vacation they're taking, to do so. And conveniently, there's 4 jobs that have a need of opening.
Wow, wonderful. We're 4 people.
Perfect.
I was thinking
I'll take the last one. I have the ultimate idea for this.
Who would like to take which job then?
What are all of them again?
What are all them?
Sure. It's effectively like scavenge for things to burn in boilers, which is sticks, driftwood, and seaweed. There's going into these clogged heating pipes that aren't functioning, but to unclog them for when they do. You can help repair cracks in the shell of the tortoise, or you can help calm the tourists that everything is okay and it's being addressed.
I'll help repair cracks.
Oh, crap, that's what I was gonna do.
Oh, if you want to, it's sort of my whole speciality is repairing things.
I'm kind of a healing lord, if you haven't forgotten.
I'm kind of like a fixing lord.
All right, you can have it.
I'll do a scout. I will go.
No, you should take it.
No.
I got the tourists. I'm a people person. Let me do it.
All right,
June,
so
is your master plan punch the
June,
miscreants in the face?
June, you
Nah.
should take it.
It's a punch a specific person in the face. Don't worry about.
Yeah, that's typically my plan, is to punch people. Okay, so you're gonna fix the turtle shell.
June's gonna do
so do I
that.
have to unclog pipes?
I will go scavenge.
I'll take whatever everyone else doesn't want.
Oh God! All right, I guess I'll go unclog pipes.
What was the last one? Of
My
burning
arms.
things?
There's
yeah.
scavenge for seaweed and driftwood for fuel, repair clogged heating pipes, help repair cracks in the shell, and calm the tourists.
Okay, I guess I'll go calm the tourists.
No, June just
June,
said
June was doing that,
No, it's my
Oh,
job.
so I am repairing the cracks.
and
Yeah,
scavenging was
you're
Equam.
cracks. Mm.
Yep, so I guess I'm doing pipes.
All right, so you want to repair the? Well, you might not want to, but you want to. You are going to repair the pipes or attempt to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Now it was noted that the pipes do run underwater, so there could be a chance of water leaking into these pipes. So
Okay.
who might be best to be prepared for something like that? But we'll.
Then somebody who can become something that can swim underwater.
No,
Maybe one of
I-
the 3 people who can walk on water.
So wait, have we got the equivalent of a long rest? Is that what I'm hearing, by the way, earlier?
Yeah, that's fine. You can.
Alright, cool. Take it.
And this is going to leave Kringle to help repair the shell.
Yes.
All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list in order here. This is going to be a bit of a skill challenge. I'm going to present a situation, and I want to hear what your attempt to solve it is. We might roll a couple dice, the plural singular of, and we'll see how this resolves, and we'll tally everything up at the end, and we'll find out what happens. So the first job here, independent. So Equam, you're going to go off on your own, and you've been asked to go gather dry seaweed and driftwood. Now, as a detail to this, they're asking you, like, please don't cut down palm trees and the huts, because these are assets to the island. They're just looking for stuff, loose drifting stuff frozen, that might have come up frozen in the ice. So anything that you can burn, like, to bring back to the guild. And how are you looking to go about this frozen tropical turtle island to look for driftwood, seaweed, and other things you can burn? Because it's really about heating fuel.
Yes. So one thing that I was going to do was, because it seems like there are a few cliffs, and I do have a bit of a natural climbing ability, and so things that have fallen down and perhaps gotten stuck somewhere on the cliffs, I can go down there and start gathering up some of what's there on the cliffs, and eventually, if I'm not finding enough, get down to the frozen water level, and perhaps there will be something there, and continue looking from that point.
Okay, so you don't want to pluck the prime foliage, but you want to crawl along the cliffs here, looking for like scrub brush and other things that aren't necessarily. I mean, it's not like tourists are going to be like looking down, like, oh, that's a cool little bush growing out the side of a cliff.
That, and maybe something fell down the cliff from building a hut,
okay.
or otherwise, or like a tree fell down and pieces fell down the cliff. There's discarded wood and assorted flammable detritus that might have built up, perhaps like on near where the legs are.
Sure.
Somewhere else where it flattens out.
Okay, so over the course of this narrative time, I would like you to begin with a survival to kind of track through the quasi-natural, or at least it is supernatural in a sense, to scout along. Okay, this place must be as good as any, not necessarily prime. It might be worth going down and seeing what you can scavenge up here. So you spend some time looking for a place that might have a lot more material, tracking down, following curves and such. And you do have a climb speed, so I'm not super worried, unless I guess for some reason you go super low. But I would like you to make an athletics check at advantage to make sure you can cling and wiggle a couple places where your claws can't really dig in to cracks, like if it's a large slab of stone. Like if you're trying to climb down here, if you're going down the stone itself, your claws are going to scrabble a bit. But go ahead and make an athletics at advantage.
Woo.
19. All right.
Pretty good.
See, there's a point. It got scary there. Like the wind picked up, and whoo, you're at one claw. But fortunately, that advantage kicked in, and you got the momentum. You have both your claws as this polar wind is blowing over you. And it is. If not for that fuzz, and honestly, how much longer your fuzz can hold out against the cold the answer is going to be not too much longer. But you do climb around, and you begin to gather some thises and that's. And now, while you're climbing, you got some stuff. You're looking for, maybe spots that are out of the way where, where things might have rolled downhill or things have just naturally fallen off. Make a perception, since you're down in the mix now on the cliff, to see what you can see, if there's a hidden pocket of anything in particular.
Normal perception? 17.
Oh, excellent. You can see that if you're on the cliffs, we'll just say you're over here for convenience sake. It's tough at first, but it does seem like there's something large frozen almost against the turtle here. It is in the ice, like right where one of the legs would be coming out and where the shell is meeting the turtle in the water. There is something large down further here. That it catches your eye because it's different. It's not like, oh, it's a big tree, but it is something that is different.
Well, I suppose I'll start climbing down that way. Perhaps it is something that will be useful.
Now,
if it's not, then maybe I'll find... Maybe if it's like a ship or something, there are people there who may have useful information.
You may now roll an athletics straight up. This would normally be at disadvantage because of all the ice and whatnot from the splashing while it was still freezing. However, you had advantage. Disadvantage cancels it, makes it a normal roll, so roll in athletics. Oh no! All right.
That's not so good.
So the wind just it catches you one more time, and you end up falling a good chunk of distance here.
To your death. Fall to your death.
And you're going to take 15 bludgeoning damage, and you're prone as you land atop a very hard surface, and you slide down. And I presume you're still conscious with only 15 damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully you didn't land on your backpack. There's a lot of glassware in the back of that thing.
Yeah.
As you fall, you skitter down, and you see that there is a large beast of some kind. It's dead, but hold on a moment. This seems to be a large whale that is frozen up against the side of the turtle. Maybe tried to hunker in for warmth, but it didn't really get any from this thing. And you have a big old whale here that's frozen against the side of the turtle.
Ooh. That's...
Unfortunate.
That's sad, but also potentially useful, if I can get it anywhere. I'm sure that it's several times larger than I am.
Yep. Well, in fact, we'll say when you impacted a sheen of ice on it, but you did get kind of a bounce. So it wasn't frozen all the way through. It still has some give, but the outside is the outside did have a crust. Though that being said, for any parts it might have, if it's a circle of life, make do with what you have. If you were to harvest it, you'd want to do it. You'd want to do it or notify someone quickly before the thing does become a whalesicle.
And I think out to the rest of the party and say, and let them know that kind of where I am and what I found, and ask them to pass the message to see if they can get anyone else to come assist with perhaps harvesting some additional parts of this great whale.
You send out your signal. However, it doesn't reach them.
The whale
Ooh.
thing.
And so I take out my dagger and perhaps my claws as well, and do try to cut in and see if there's see what I could get from this whale that could then be useful. Perhaps some of the blubber or something else. Maybe,
all right.
Who knows? Maybe the whale has eaten something strange.
First things first, you do try to think out, and you're not getting replies back, and you get a brain freeze as you're trying to think this over. You take 1 point of cold damage as you're invoking this communication.
Ooh. Ow.
That's spicy.
Not spicy. Very much the opposite of spicy.
But what you have found a source of possible fuel. You've fallen down, but you could theoretically climb back up. So what I'm going to do is you have accomplished your mission in a sense, and perhaps you've even found out a little bit more along the way. So Equam, I'm going to go from you to our next job, which is happening elsewhere but simultaneously. So we're going to go to repair the heating pipes that are underwater. Now, the pipes do run underwater, kind of like underneath parts of the turtle on the outside, or, through parts of the shell where it wouldn't injure the great turtle itself. And there are entrances and accesses that are above the water. So how would you like to descend down into this heating system, which actually does have quite a chill once the hatch is open for you?
So what am I looking at here? I'm looking at a huge pipe and a hatch, and I have to go into it. I
Yeah.
can't go like the outside and repair from the outside.
Well, if you can, you're gonna have to bust through you're either gonna have to go out a distance and then swim under the ice and under the turtle, or you're gonna have to drill or burn your way down through the ice, or you're gonna have to go down through this pipe that they open the hatch to, and you can go down, and presumably the pipes are going all around in its own way.
Okay, so there's a pipe in front of me, and I gotta go into the pipe. I will start by casting a spell.
Okay.
I want to cast a spell, Conjure Animal.
Okay.
Now, Maddie, I think from this I get either 8 beasts of 1/4 challenge rating or lower, 4 beasts of challenge rating 1/2 or lower, or 2 beasts of challenge rating 1 or lower that are appropriate for the environment. So, do you want me to choose those beasts, or do you have anything in mind?
Well, there's a couple different environments, which, these could be coastal creatures, these could be Arctic creatures, or these can be oceanic, as we have all 3 of these sort of biomes have simultaneously manifested here on Turtle Island. And so I will put the onus on you to decide what you'd like here.
Okay, I think it would be really great to get, I don't know any on the top of my head, but cold water, just fish.
Okay.
Fish that would just live in an Arctic environment. I don't know what those are. Alaskan salmon. Let's go with that.
Okay.
I conjure 8 Alaskan salmon.
Okay, are they just
Where is Alaska?
Are you doing this down the pipe, so they're just kind of flopping down into the darkness?
Exactly. They're gonna scout for me.
Okay. There's presumably not water in the pipes, as a heads up.
Oh, I thought there was expressly water in the pipe.
The pipes are clogged.
Whoopsie. Okay. Oh, well, those fish are just flopping
If,
around the ground.
well, all right, if you want to take it back, you can, or if you want to roll with it, then you can have 8 salmon down a cold clogged heating pipe. But yeah, the problem is there's not water or anything running through it to circulate, or even like warm air, let alone warm water, like a radiator.
This is now a lot less frightening than I thought it was. I thought I was about to swim into a pipe that was filled with water, and I was going to just...
It's a possibility because they go underwater if there's a cracked pipe that it might flood, but...
Gotcha. In that case, I will stare down at my salmon and say, "I'm sorry, buddies, I got a little overzealous there." And then I will just slide into the pipe. Can I do that? Can I slide down the pipe? Is that a thing I can do?
Yeah, there is a ladder, so it's going down, but you know how some people like hold the rungs? I'm sure with your feet, you might have a way that you can almost like lean back with your feet up and then kind of and use your tail as a bit of a braking system, like a if you need to. So yeah. you can it's like a scuba dive. You get on the side of the pipe and then you roll back and you cling to the ladder with your feet going down.
I like this idea. I will do that.
All right. I like the idea. It will be difficult. But
I don't like it as much anymore.
However, we're in this together, so you are not going down alone. You have your DM with you. And I would like you to roll just a straight up athletics. As your, or you know what, athletics or acrobatics, either could work in this instance.
Woo is not very good at either.
Okay, so, so Woo, you start going down, and you, there's just a ting 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 as you strike a couple rungs. You do. Let's see if you can manage to break yourself before the final impact here. You will take a couple bumps to the head, but now I need an athletics to see if you can grip and break your fall down the pipes to whatever the bottom is.
If I fail here, do I die?
No, you do not die.
Okay, we like this. We like not dying. Okay. Athletics, you say?
Please.
That's this button. Yeah.
Okay.
12.
So you are going to take some bumps going down. This is God,
it's gonna be so easy once I get in there, but I'm just dying.
You bump 4 times for 8 bludgeoning damage. Just normal.
Ow.
And you break a little bit off of the final tumble here, and this is going to be this is actually only going to be 4 bludgeoning damage, and you are prone at the bottom of the pipe, but you're down in it.
Are my salmon here?
Yes, they are. They're flopping around and trying to gasp for breath.
How did you all survive the fall?
There is apparently like a little puddle or something that they must have landed in, or just some other. They're also face salmon, so who knows?
That's very true. Okay, maybe they can fly. Salmon, can you fly?
They flop in response.
All right, cool. I go looking down the pipe. I just start exploring.
All right, you have great dark vision, 120 or 60.
No, it's only 60.
Okay.
Yeah. Only 60 dark. Still pretty good. I would call it great, Matty. I mean, I don't know why I disparaged my dark vision, but I think it's pretty solid.
Looking around, what is your passive, by the way?
Oh, it's 18.
Oh wow! All right, yeah. So you're
nothing gets past.
You're going through, and there's some constant like as the pipes are groaning, and you're hearing kind of ping, ping, and also some sounds on the outside of maybe some ice moving or further solidifying or cracking and refreezing. And you do find a couple areas where the pipes have like a little cluster of ice crystals that have broken through. Now, it's not clogging, but what that would indicate is if heat starts going through, it would, it would melt the ice. So you haven't found a clog, but you have found a rupture in the pipe that you might be able to attend.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep that in mind. And I'm gonna keep looking.
Okay. Venturing through, this little kobold in the dark here, tip, 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 tip. Your little claws are making metallic, echoey scrabbles in the pipes, and you come across a large cluster of some kind of sea life. Like it has an outside like a barnacle shell, but inside is some glooping around bits, and there's just a big.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, so they're kind of like barnacles. There's an outer crust, and inside the barnacle opening that would normally be at the top are some glooping around bits. Some squidgy doos. I'm using very specific terms here.
Highly technical.
It has the appearance of living ketchup, and it's all sort of like inside this barnacle crust, and there's just enough of them here that there is a clog. And, hopefully there's no more, but this is like a big clog in one of the central areas of like where several pipes have met up.
And these are of barnacle shkloopy-doos is what we're gonna call them.
Yeah, there's a crusty exterior and a ketchupy interior that's blooping around.
And they're like active and moving. So they're like alive, whatever this is.
Yeah, whatever's inside the crusts does appear to have some semblance of life.
Okay. I will set it on fire.
Okay.
A wall of fire upon it.
So
huge wall of fire erupts upon it. Or encircling it.
We are... 1 second, let me go to what I need.
Oh, these guys are actual monsters? Matty, I wasn't fair. You didn't tell me they were real.
I mean, they
You saying they're real monsters?
they were imaginary until you interacted with
real
them.
monsters.
You certainly set fire to them here. They're not. There's just no way they can make a dex save. But what you do see is a kind of slurping out of these barnacle exteriors here are again these like pulsing red things that are kind of coming through.
I don't like that at all.
And
this is incredibly descriptive in a way that I'm really enjoying.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sorry, let me rephrase. I love.
As they're crawling towards you, they have the effect. Have any of you ever, out of a gacha capsule, got one of those sticky hands that you can like throw out like 5 feet ahead of you? And they stick to the ceiling and you pull them back. That's kind of how they're crawling to you. They're like throwing hands out and they're slipping, like and then they're kind of pulling themselves, and then they're casting their hands out again, and then they're pulling themselves closer here. As that happens,
Nightmare fuel is what I'm hearing.
As that happens, they start
catch up the magical inchworms.
They're starting to appear, and they're taking the form of a lot of different turtles. And the red color is starting to turn into turtle, into like what you'd expect a turtle to look like. However, the fire certainly makes them screech and make unturtle-like noises. As you have
Have I just like awoken the turtle demon?
Make a.
Hey, you find a dead whale, and woo woo, you find a demon.
An Arcana or an Arcana straight up, or a Nature at disadvantage.
Oh, I'm gonna make Arcana. I'm very smart. We'll get to 9.
Okay, these are some. They might be related to oozes somehow. I'm sure that you all have had an adventure in the Central City sewers.
Never mind. I know what these.
And
okay.
And so there's all sorts of oozes. In fact, there's that one time you even went pocket creature hunting for Bartholomew, when he decided to do that again, like everyone wants him to, and.
Go on.
And
No
so
chicken.
and so after that extremely popular second episode of Pocket Creature Hunting in which you starred, you had captured an ooze. These are ooze-like. They certainly do not like fire. Though Woo Woo is not familiar with the specific breed, but they do seem to be taking on forms and shapes of turtles as they're going through the fire. Like you're getting like bubbles, and like the bubbles are like are red like blisters, but then they're going back into the turtle shape. Now you certainly have debilitated them, and they almost seem to be at the end of a tether. They can only blurp out so far from their calcium cocoons that you can continue to address them in a fashion that you wish. Is Wall of Fire concentration?
It is, in fact, a concentration spell.
Would you like to maintain concentration?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep burning them with Wall of Fire, just maintaining that concentration. And in addition to that,
Yes.
we'll scream, "Oh my god!" That's my turn.
All
I'll
right.
dodge.
And I guess the salmon poof.
Oh,
Yeah.
poof.
It's probably for the best, otherwise they would have
They
slowly
were probably
suffocated to
in the
death.
fire.
Oh no, you're in the guts. You're in the innards of this. You're
okay.
past that initial drop.
Gotcha.
All right. So Woo Woo, you actually have done a fairly good job here, as the fire slows and distracts them, causing them to scream. And after playing a little bit of John Carpenter's The Thing here in the heating pipes of the Turtle Island, you have successfully burnt out the clog that was taking things up. So there's still some of these leaks you've spotted. I mean, maybe in the grand scheme of things, it won't make a difference. I don't know what you could do to repair, ice damaged pipes, but you took care of the clog.
I know how to repair ice-damaged pipes, Maddie.
Oh, whoa.
I'm wondering, have you looked at my character sheet to find that I have literally the perfect ability for this, Maddie? Is that what this is?
Wait, are you saying that you want to treat pipes like pottery?
No, I'm sorry. No, that.
Oh,
Be,
then no.
would be
Apparently,
cool
I
if I
haven't
had
seen your
to.
character sheet and what I thought you might be doing.
I'm going to cast heal metal with. I'm sorry, not heal metal. With my Winsler's ring. I'm gonna.
Heat metal. Oh.
Oh, wait,
Heat metal to heal metal.
Lord.
wait, and does that interact with his healing?
Yeah,
roll?
how does this come forward,
Yeah, he is the healer.
Are there no more pipes?
You want high or low? Woo woo.
Always high, man.
Always. I'm gonna always offer you. So there.
Always
Yeah.
high. That way, I'm never wrong.
Okay. All right. So Woo Woo.
Decidedly middling.
Just in the belly of the beast here, you already caused a prodigious fire by burning out this infestation. What was the whole
Probably really
thing
good.
about? Why did they turn into turtle? Anyway, no time to think about that. That's an adventure for another day, and hopefully there's not more of these things. And so as the heal lord or the healing lord combining with heal metal. Woo Woo is in the nexus, right, where you burnt out this thing. All the fire was already kind of flowing through here. Woo Woo, you extend your stumps forward, actually, no, wait. As healing, you actually had a kind of a manifestation. So the hands go from this glowing sort of manifested phantom pain resonance of your hands, and they turn into fire, and it flows out from you, and it starts like coursing over the pipes, and so warmth and healing extends through the belly of the island, and you just hear more groans and creaks and pings, but not the cold, icy reverberation. These have a somehow in your imagination a warmer feeling, and the whole island it gives kind of a satisfying ooh.
Oh, because the island is a turtle, of course.
Yes.
You're welcome, Mr. Turtle. No problem. I'm here all week, except I'm probably leaving real soon.
Now we're gonna go to Kringle. Kringle, you've been sent out to repair cracks in the shell which could be causing heat leakage from the turtle. I mean, as much as it makes heat itself, but especially if this heating system ever gets working, you want to try and trap the heat, and you also don't want people to fall in because the cold has caused splits and potholes and things. Now, you don't need to attend every pothole, but there's certainly some fissures in the shell. How would you like to address the major cracks or to try and seal up as much as you can of the major damage?
Kringle is pretty, like, not, I don't want to use the word excited, but, like, feeling a lot more comfortable with a job that's not, like, rescue, defeat, overcome, as opposed to, like, you know, fix he can do. So he goes over, and the first thing he does is he takes out the cup, and he kind of whispers to himself, I didn't think I'd need you again so soon, old friend. And I cast Tiny Servant on the cup.
Okay.
Fix, mend, and recreate. I think someone in chat last time named him Mugmo, so I guess that's his name, is Mugmo.
Okay. So the mug once more reanimates after you healed its boo-boo from the beach, and it seems ready to serve.
I take Mugmo, I take my bird familiar, and I scatter them to the four winds and ask them to locate all of the major fissures that I need to repair.
Okay. Well, you actually have they gave you, like, here's the big ones we want. And so if you want to send them out to look for other ones, you can. But you actually have a map. There's a couple places. Like, there's like 3 major ones that they need help with.
Sure. Yeah, I'll send them around to kind of scout out and get the lay of the land elsewhere and try and find them. But then I will go to the locations that are the major sites that they're telling about here first, and just kind of assess the damages and what's going on here. There are presumably, I mean, imagine if there's cracks and like fissures in these, it's not just like it's been kind of like separated and broken apart like the shell is. I imagine there's like pieces that have like fallen and crumbled away.
Yeah. In fact, what we're gonna say here is there's a big piece of infrastructure that's on the shell. And there's a big crack going down here, and it's threatening to not only just have a part of the shell fall off that would be a big exposure of the tender parts of the turtle, but a part of one of the resorts would actually fall off and onto the ice. And so this is one of your fissures, would be to heal it up to prevent not just the exposure, but to try and save the assets here.
Okay. So what Crickle's going to do is use... and it's not, I wouldn't say it's quick work the way that he's going about it, but he has a ring of telekinesis, so he's going to move around and collect all of these, I imagine, pretty large in scale pieces of rubble. I mean, I'm seeing, like, based on that crack, it's at least a couple of buildings wide.
Oh, yeah. This is big, major scale stuff.
So he can move up to 1,000 pounds at a time with his ring of telekinesis. So he's going to just take these things up, then he's going to switch it over to his giant nutcracker and break them into more manageable chunks.
Okay.
And then try and take those smaller chunks and kind of slowly, like a jigsaw puzzle, put them back together with mending, since mending can't do something huge, but it can do a lot of small things.
Okay, so you're lifting up a big broken piece? You want to then break it and then put it back together?
Piece, because mending can only fix something that is... it can only fix like it's like a couple feet or
it's smaller.
Yeah, it's a smaller thing. So I'm kind of breaking it apart like a jigsaw puzzle because I can't just take the piece and put it down and then mending a huge crack on the turtle. So I'm doing it in smaller chunks by divvying the work up into smaller pieces and just kind of slowly piecemeal putting it back together. Does that make sense?
Yes. Roll. Just roll an intelligence, and you can do this like straight up intelligence at advantage. Ooh, 21 or 22. I guess we're gonna go with the 22. You are for this though. You're gonna need some kind of like support if you're gonna be withdrawing a chunk to break it and to refit it. Like you're gonna have to bolster it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not that you can't do it, but it'll have a complicated other step, especially over time, because mending's going to take a long time to do what you're hoping to do. And so you're gonna have to brace it, or you're gonna have to put a spanner or something in there, unless you take a different course of action.
Okay. No, I think we can do a. I think we can absolutely do a bracer. I think what Kringle's going to do is just go ahead and fabricate again. He's going to do another casting of the fabricate spell. And in this first casting of the fabricate spell, since he can just kind of move things. Actually, what are the materials I'm working with here? What is the shell constructed of? It looks like stone, but what is the actual material that I'm working with here?
We will treat it as if stone were organic. So it would have the breakability, the like it'd have the stats of stone, but it is biological because it is a part of the shell. So it is as tough as stone. It is as heavy as stone. It is not inorganic like stone.
Okay. It seems I think fabricate would allow me to work with it because it's a raw material, and I can do I can work with wood and trees, but that would be your ruling whether or not you think fabricate would apply to that.
Yeah, so just as you all out there in audience land can't see it, but yeah, it's like keratin or whatnot. So with the caveat of unless Kringle like snaps and goes evil and wants to fabricate stuff out of people's fingernails, in this instance, out of like fingernails and other things like that, I will say that on such a scale and in such an interesting scenario here, the shell of the turtle, while it is biological, could be considered a material for the sake of your fabricate spell, as if it were stone.
Okay. In that case, I am going to just take some of the. I imagine there's miscellaneous rubble that's just like this isn't part of the support system. This is just this is stuff that's gone away and that isn't going to fit back onto the shell.
Yeah, there's been some damage done already, so there are parts of a fallen building. You're preventing the entire thing from sliding down, but there has been some damage, and I mean, you weren't told that you couldn't use rubble that's already there, or if it takes half a house to preserve an entire resort, that might be that's not an immoral sacrifice, I believe, to Kringle.
Yeah, I would think so. So, and there's some trees and stuff on this island.
Yeah.
I imagine they don't mind me, doing a tree. And on all of the kind of finer work, I'm doing out of wood because that's what Kringle knows how to work. Because the way fabricate works, it has to be with tools that I'm proficient in. I'm proficient in tinker's tools and carpenter's tools. So
okay.
I'm making kind of larger scale supports out of this kind of stone that could act as columns to hold things up while I'm kind of using other areas, but I want to try and tinker and fabricate, essentially make some kind of wooden, how do I describe visually the thing I'm picturing in my mind? I essentially want to make extendy ones, so when I go to the next section, I can kind of move and slide these two things against each other so that they're not, and then lock them into place so that they'll work for all of the sections that I do and not just specifically design supports for this one.
Okay, that is within your wheelhouse, so that's fine. You manifest such an extendy mobile bracer.
And then I use the bracer, and then I go about it as I had described previously.
Okay, it takes time, but you know what? You're a patient gnome. You have a couple hundred years of your life left ahead of you. You are used to being over and doing the minutia here. Concentrating, taking this interesting approach, and this smaller scale approach too. As a humble small gnome, instead of just jamming a boulder in place and be like, that's good. You're actually taking your time and you're putting some quality into things here.
This is a guy who builds ships in a bottle,
Yeah. This is just a bigger scale. You're building a
shell on a turtle.
Yeah. So this is I think this is a viable solution. You already have the setup. You have your character Kringle has the patience. Isn't I mean, if Woo Woo were to do, oh my goodness, if Woo Woo were to do this, I would either wouldn't allow this or I would do it at disadvantage. But I would like you to make because he's a little bit more impulsive, a little bit more turn into a monster and get it done. I would like you to make a just make another intelligence check at advantage.
All right. Save. Intelligence check. Hey, not as good.
Okay. So with a 10 here, it is slow work. It's there's some things you're figuring out on the fly. You haven't lost the shell, but your work is continuing when others have finished their job. I mean, Woo Woo is dusting off his phantom hands like, I just burned everything and I'm done. Meanwhile, you're
go by, Woo Woo's like done.
Yeah,
and I'm like 5
I'm
puzzle
ladder
pieces
just
in.
looking up. Guys, someone help!
And
oh yeah, I think at some point Kringle probably takes a point of cold damage from trying to telepath too.
oh, okay, then this would be. I'm sorry, you're taking 4 points of brain freeze.
Oh no! He would reach out at some point.
But yes, it does seem, no one's nearby. You try and reaching out, and you just get that, you don't even get the satisfaction of the ice cream. It's just the brain freeze.
I could go for some ice cream.
Well, here's the question though, Kringle. Would it taste like anything if you go to Big Rock Candy Mountain? Or would it just taste like dull?
It tastes like nothing.
Yeah.
He's definitely another cloud man.
All right, so you're over the long haul. It's slow and steady work. It's not that you can't do it. You're just, hey, this is the first time you're repairing a giant turtle shell.
I got a Tensor's floating disc out. I got the full construction setup going on. I'm moving stuff around. Kringle is very much in his element and significantly happier than you've seen him throughout the entirety of this adventure. Looking a lot more confident because he's distracted and just focused on his work.
What I would like you to do, Kringle, because of that prompt, you're giving your DM some inspiration here. I would like you to make some kind of a charisma based check that is presented in a positive manner. I don't care if it's performance or persuasion. It's it needs to be a positive check of some variety.
Non-intimidation or deception. I get you. 10.
Okay. So you're doing this tink 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 tink. One of the turtles go by like, "Yeah, you're making a lot of noise." But thank you. And this shimmery black-eyed turtle who snapped at you at least stops and just kind of, starts walking, adds that one last, but thank you, and continues to go off.
Have a great winter solstice, sir.
And you do not get a response in return. But you know what? Let's see if June. Now June's not sent out for the turtles per se. You're here for the guests. While the others are working on this project, meanwhile across Turtle Island, we zoom over. And June, you are in one of the major gathering areas, like one of the big resorts, because one has suffered some damage. And the solstice is it's a busy vacation season, but they weren't at capacity. So a lot of the tourists were gathered in like the big gathering area where they would put on shows for everyone. And they're there to try and conserve food and warmth and keep people safe. But it is also a pressure cooker here. Because while it is warm and there is some food still left, you have a bunch of tourists and you have a bunch of turtles. There's a lot of just, you open the door and you get the warmth, but you just get this wave of negativity. You're hearing names being called. You're like, oh, I guess this is the last time I'm ever coming here with my family. And then there's someone like, oh, my new bikini, I never got a chance to wear it. And so then the turtle's like, oh, who needs this? I'm gonna be a Bartholomew's adventure. And just people making all sorts of just absolutely poor decisions. And so June, you are here. What would you like to do? You have you have not like a 20,000 strong stadium, but you have a central gathering place. There's people here. It hasn't broken out into violence, but June, just the vibes you're picking up on, just being this monk who just you're getting this key reaction that it's rustling your key jimmies.
Not my key, Jimmy.
Ooh.
Yep.
All right.
Your kimmies.
My kimmies. No, my kimmies. Let's see. I'm going to go up to like somebody and whisper like, "Hey, man, who is the strongest person here?"
Are you approaching a tourist or a native? A turtle.
Just anyone who would be closer. So probably.
So we'll say that there's a lot of tourists that are here. So there's a woman you find who's the strongest, and I don't know. I don't fight. But you know what? I saw. There's a new guy. Haven't seen a lot of his kind before. Must be taking a vacation here. If I were to put money, you know what? I might be able to earn some solstice money. Everyone's fixing for a fight. And she starts plotting and planning. She's like, there's an ogre over there. I just started seeing a bunch of ogres in the lands of DnD Time. This one made it out to Turtle Island.
All right, I'm gonna go up to Ben like, "Hey, what'd you say about my mother? How dare you?"
All right, you're going over to the ogre.
Yeah, I'm gonna start some stuff with him.
Okay. So the ogre turns around, and the ogre is an adventuress who, despite the cold, is actually getting to wear her bikini, and also has apparently a palm tree with her. That is a great club. And what did you say? I never. In a bellowing tone.
Alright. I'm gonna like gesture for everyone to like sort of clear the area, I guess.
What are you doing?
I'll turn to my person who like got the idea about the betting. It's like, all right, let's start like a tournament. This is very poorly thought through plan, but I'm gonna go up to this ogre and say, "Damn, your bikini looks so ugly as well. You should
I spent 3 gold pieces on this for my vacation." And she like just spittle flecks from her toothy mouth as she's kind of like she's leaning over and just and when she says like pieces and you're splattered a little bit here. I have half a mind to show you some proper respect.
oh yeah, come on.
And she so she has the palm tree that apparently she acquired as a souvenir here. Looks at it and you asked for it. And as she looks back to the palm tree, but as she does,
I'll be like, "Hey everyone, get a load of this." Actually, bikini wear.
does a 20 hit you?
Ogre lady with no taste at all. Oh my gosh.
And what she does, so she's regarding this, and you're like, "Hey, everyone, ever," and even instead of swinging the palm tree, which is kind of the reed she was giving you, she does one of those like Princess Peach like hip bumps right into you and barrels you. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
All right. I'm pretty good though.
You say that.
I believe your sheet would indicate as such. So the qualifying statement of statistically, comma. All right. This ogress like hip bumps you like Princess Peach in Smash Brothers, and you're knocked prone, and she is on you, and she raises the palm tree up, and however she doesn't get another attack here. What would you like to do?
All right. Let's see. I'm going to use my action to dodge.
Okay.
And I'll end my turn.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is, well, let's see, you're prone, but you're dodging, so that would be advantage, but it's canceled out a normal roll. So the first roll would have been, so I rolled 2, but I forgot that they would have been a normal roll because of things that are happening here. So a 21 still going to hit you?
All right.
Okay. Jeez, this is... I said it's a great club, but this is also a palm tree. Let's go,
It's a greater club.
It's a greater club. Is that in the bag? That better be in the bag now. A greater club.
Let me just...
Yeah. By the way, everyone watching, if
also
you
a
ever want to
longer
make
story.
content for D&D time, just make puns and references, and they'll get in there at some point in
They
time.
get absolutely right in. We don't even look at them. We just put them in.
If yours makes us laugh enough, it.
So with her greater club, you take 10 points of mundane bludgeoning damage. As she just like comes down like right on your chest, because she has you pinned, like she's over top you, like keeping you pinned, and bashes down with the, and everyone around is like, yeah, get him, and they're woo. All right, over to you, June. What are you doing?
All right. I'm a punch her fat butt then. I guess.
You're pretty much there. So yeah, that's you can go bloop and yep. Oh yeah, you hit.
Whoa.
Hitting for days. Okay.
Oh wow. That was max.
Are you continuing? She's she yelps. Oh yeah, that'll also hit. It's not a chainmail bikini, so she actually has a normal AC.
Oh, but it's a disadvantage because she's got me.
You're hitting both of them all the same.
Okay, yeah. And then I'll use a key point actually.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm gonna do like a jujitsu maneuver as I'm like grappling, and
Oh jeez, yep.
so there is, since I am way of the open hand, I'm a hunter 15 feet away from me.
Okay. So open hand technique. Are you? This is gonna play into. Are you going for a lethal blow, or do you want to knock her out?
I'm going to knock her out.
Okay. And also, welcome Party RPG. Thank you for the raid with your viewers. Let me spam some emotes and welcome. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you all had a good session. Hello. All right, so June, you come through with this. You wave the open hand. You're spending a key point, and I mean, she may be an ogress here, but she isn't. She's not like a full-blooded ogre. She's an adventuring ogre, which I don't know. We might see more of those in the lands of D&D time. We'll see what the new year brings. And so you just in slow motion, she just goes ooh 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 ooh. And just somewhere in this arena, just someone shouts K.O.
All right, I'll take anyone on who wants to go. I bet $1,000 on me. No, turn to look at the next ogre.
All right. I see where I like the lead in, and I see where this is going. So what I would like you to do, June, I want you to make. How can we summarize this?
I'll try to make it like a good performance, as a laddie.
Yeah,
flashy,
yeah.
so,
You can, so this can be either a, well, I'll let you choose the stat. You could roll a performance with strength, dex, or charisma. You are a gladiator after all. Oh, geez, this is natural for you. I see what you're. Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell me what you want to do here. In
So
fact,
I'll
you
do
have the
it with,
experience.
like,
You can do this at
some
advantage.
dexterous moves. I'll do like some couple of like flips and like messing around with like your opponent, like dancing around, like come at me. I'll take 3 of you at once. Cage match. All right, everyone, get the cage. Where's the ropes? Do some WWE moves where you flip a clothesline, you flip over someone, grab a chair. Like, whoa! It's almost like this was staged. It wasn't actually. Are they on stage WWE? That's fine. So that would be my dex plus my proficiency. So that's a 9.
Okay. So we have 14. I want you to do this 2 more times for me, please. As this is over time. This is kind of like your endurance match, because people, even with a rando, like a level 1 commoner, can still sneak in a blow on a 20. Nice.
But that's another thing about being an open hand monk. Actually, I have a special ability.
Nice. Win. Okay, so yeah, at first you had a bunch of people pile on because you had an open invitation, and so people are just and you got piled on, but then you ended up so you took a couple hits, but then you burst out like Neo under all the Agent Smiths, and you just send tourists flying in their they don't have winter attire, so they're in whatever bathing suits or shorts and tropical like turtle print button-up shirts or whatever, and you send them flying, and then you're leaping around, and you have a whole slew of things. And it's kind of like a central recreation and gathering area. There's all kinds of implements here because they're serving food. So there's ladles and bowls. As people have been setting up solstice decorations, there's ropes and chairs and all sorts of other stuff, and so. You are in your element, and you are performing, and you're distracting. Now, there are a lot of people fighting. There are a lot of people who are, bloodying up some others. Though everyone has a central focus, everyone is cheering or getting in, and the place it is still, has a violent vibe, though everyone is focused, and it's a lot less cold as with the activity, and people are heating up. And so through this, I'm going to call this. It is a success ultimately, though there are casualties that are at stake. But hey, it's not a D&D time adventure without collateral damage or some innocent bystanders possibly being obliterated. So yeah, this is. We come now to a point in the future where Woo Woo, you are recovered as you like shout back up the pipe. I'm done or whatever. It's
I can't climb this ladder very easily. It's real easy to go down. I can't go up very well.
They send down a harness that fortunately you can just manage to get your stumps like over the loop.
It's okay. I can just wrap my feet around the harness. That's fine. It's just climbing up the ladder is a tough one.
And boop 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 boop. You're lifted up. Equam, you are eventually spotted. Though down here on the harsh ice, you are going to take a little bit more incidental, some cold damage from the wind and the biting snow. Your fur only lasted so long. However, you're only going to take 7 more cold before a harness is thrown down for you as well. And of course, you'll tell them, hey, there's a whale down there. It must have just recently frozen or passed. It has a shell, but you might be able to harvest it. And the turtles, the turtles are a great find. Even more, of course, like you saw, like the twigs that you like gather on your way down. You're like, but here's these also, and they'll take the handful of twigs. It helps. We could use this to get our pilot lit. So actually, what we'll do, Woo Woo, Ecom is rescued. You've been down in the pipes for a while, navigating the maze. You hear kind of a ping, ping, ping in the pipes as it sounds like they're heating up because apparently they were gathering some. Remember, this is over hours that you're doing this. They gathered fuel, and yeah, you hear like a rush of boiling water coming down the pipes, and this thing is lowered. And you get in the harness, and you hear the boiling water going through the system is getting closer. They're reeling you up, reeling you up, reeling you up.
I always knew this was how I was gonna die.
And the water's gushing up, and fortunately and unfortunately, you are going to take 3 bonks on the noggin as you're being hauled upside down by your legs for 5 points of bludgeoning damage as your head is ting, ting, ting on the ladder on the way up. But you're pulled out like as a gust of steam shoots up out of the woo, and some turtles end up closing the latch and twisting it, and you're safe.
Oh, my dome.
I
took a lot of. No one else got hurt on their adventure.
I fell. Thank you very little.
Alright, I guess you got hurt a little bit.
Kringle, you're continuing your work.
Check my cat baby.
Oh, okay. And June, you get everyone stirred up, and then you, how do you want to linger around, or are you just happy to have set everyone to some kind of a goal, and are you peacing out?
I'll just like continue fighting until there's nobody left who wants the challenge.
All right. Sure. We'll say that there's a lot of people here. But I don't know. There are. Let's roll this. All right, there's 180 people that so I guess there's a lot more who are just staying in their hotel rooms. But people who came for the food who are here, we have 180, and then so what? 5% of this, 10% would be 18, so half of that would be 9. So 9 people. 9 people effectively per round are going to get some kind of a hit in on you because of a lucky strike. A lot of them are just commoners. Like even like a little kid's going to come up and just like try and punch you in the butt or something. It's like right on the cheek, like on the hip. Ha ha! I got you. Or trying to do the 1,000 years of pain. And so you get a couple lucky strikes on the on the 1,000 years of pain here. And so with 9,
1 week point.
All right, we'll say that. Oh wow. You are going to take 33 points of damage over the course of this brawl before it's looking like. Again, over time, people are getting in lucky strikes, but there's a lot of them that are knocking each other out. Certainly some blood, some teeth. You almost slipped on a tooth that would have taken your foot out, but you have some good footwork. Going. But you will have to piece out of there before you're knocked out, unless you really do want to. I will knock you out eventually, if you wish. If you want to go down fighting, that is your call. Mama
didn't raise a wuss. Give me all you got.
All right. Okay, so at some point in time, your 6 Pokemon are fainting, everything goes to black, and you're going to have to be hauled back to the Pokemon Healing Center as you are knocked unconscious.
How long is he fighting that? Is he fighting longer than it takes Woo-Woo to get back?
Yes. No. I mean, a fight's going to resolve prior. No, we'll say he's probably done sooner than the others, because the fight will only last. There's only so many hit points in that ballroom or whatever. So June, you will have gone down fighting. You will have been recovered by some turtles and brought to a first aid station. Some smelling salts will bring you to like 1 hit point. And you got like the classic, like the bandage on the nose, and you got like the really good black eye, like that really solid theatrical one. and your cheeks kind of swollen. And the turtles, though, they are looking at you with those black shimmery eyes. But for a moment, there's a little quiver in them. And they say, "That was really impressive." And you actually got a compliment out of them. And you go to give them a thumbs up, and you realize that your thumb's not bending the correct way. So the three of you will be gathered together, but of course you're told that Kringle is hard at work and is doing a good job. Again, he's getting a compliment from a turtle. Must have been the one passing by. And you're told that it is only going to be a matter of time. In fact, the heat really, none of them seem to remember the heating system ever working as well as it did. They kind of changed their route to stick to warmer climates because it was in such a decrepit state, but over time things just became inefficient. But those pipes are just super conductive now. And so they they thank you, and you are returned with actually a begrudging gratitude from these dark-eyed turtles to Zuzip's ship, and you can hear the ice breaking and cracking as the turtle is also helping because it's also getting warmed up, and it's able to kind of rock back and forth. But Kringle, because of your support system, like the shell's not breaking, even though you're still kind of like, hold on, hey, hang on. With your toy soldier there to help as well. I mean, toy soldier.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky because he can't have the toy soldier do stuff while he's also like telekinesis and stuff around because he has to telekinesis the one thing.
Yeah.
So there's a juggling act.
But you can always like put him in a position where he can almost it can also act as a brace too. Like you kind of wedge him, and then you can be inanimate.
At a certain point with all this time, it's just like, well, I guess we're just spending the night, and then we'll figure it out in the morning. I don't know how long this all takes.
This is over the course of hours. It was already very actually because you were gathered in the evening, and as far as I know, the lands of D&D Time only have one time zone, or do they have multiple time zones?
It's got one time zone, right? Because it's a convex plane, and it's suddenly.
Jeremy, don't dig a hole. Just say yes.
The time zone is.
So yeah, it's just one. It's either darker or darker light.
Okay, so it is where it is sunset on the Turtle Island. It is also sunset way across the lands of D&D Time in the Frontier. Everyone shares the same sun and such. So you had left Bartholomew's shop. What's that?
Never mind.
Okay. You had left Bartholomew's shop. You've traveled a great distance. However, that seems to have no effect on the time of day. It wasn't getting towards the evening time. I'm going to say you've worked through the night. However, you got that kind of that dose of energy that invigorated your spirits, so you're able to power through the night. And so as dawn is breaking on this frozen sea, which is now glimmering and glittering more and more, it's shimmering as the ice is breaking, and the morning sun is reflecting off of jags that are freshly created. Kringle, as you're putting the last works in on this, you've spent all-nighters on toys and such before. Then you just get that, just that moment where the sun is rising on the horizon of the lands of D&D Time, and as you put that finishing touch in, there's just that, Nazaquinia, sort of a moment here as you behold the work on the turtle shell that you have accomplished. Equam, the life of the whale has certainly been put to good use, and in fact, Equam, you are supplied with a great portion of the meat should you wish to have it. However, they did say that they're under contractual obligation to provide several pounds of it to Bartholomew for some reason, some kind of a weird subscription.
Well, send my portion along with Bartholomew's. I will pick it up from the shop. I do think I would like it, but I don't want to be carrying it around and having it get in the way. Should I need to go rescue some other island?
Kringle, that will be passed along, and I'm sure that there's going to be a mix-up, and Uchunkus is going to end up with an extra portion of whale meat. Now, Kringle, is there any kind of a... are you trying to make this as innocuous as possible, or are you leaving a bit of Kringle flair on the side of Turtle Island?
Kringle would feel the best if people didn't even ever notice that it happened. If it just looks like, of course, it's a perfectly repaired whale shell. So
okay,
he leaves no trace.
Whale?
A whale shell?
I meant to say turtle shell, but we were talking about whales.
I'm very interested in these whales now.
All right.
The shelled whales of the dinosaur. Of course, you're from Dinosaur Island. You know about the shelled whales.
Duh! Come on, Jeremy. This is your play your
Come
playground,
on,
right?
You built that
How
area.
did I
You would
get
know.
so stupid?
All right. So Kringle, into the foreseen future, such that the lands of D&D Time hold, no one will recognize your work.
And that is,
And
that is the way he likes it.
you will never receive a thank you card or people seeking your services because no one will ever know. The end. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And all right,
Really, that is the end of that's just very much feels to Kringle like, all right, adventure done. Let's go back. But then he's like, oh, I guess.
I know you just want to be, like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank. Like, you just want to be on the beach in San Juantaneo and just work on your boat and and just sort of go fishing. Anyway, so dawn breaks.
Is the boat what Kringle has in his basement? He has like his workshop and then a boat in the basement.
No.
Oh, yeah, he's working on his
Puts in the bottle.
Kringle climbed through 3 miles of ketchup slime and came out the other side smelling clean.
Yeah.
All right, I go find everyone. And
How long has Kringle been working?
All right, so yeah, Kringle's been absolute all-nighter. You guys have at least had a semblance of rest and a breakfast.
am I exhausted?
Oh yeah. You are actually exhausted, but maybe it's that good kind. You don't work out, but it's probably what people who go to Kurraganes feel after they've destroyed themselves so they can rebuild themselves.
I meant mechanically.
Like an exhaustion level. I'm not going to worry about it because we're actually going to go into some narrative time. But yes, we can play up that you are. You are just you're like jelly armed and your back hurts and So
when I walk up, I'm just holding up the ring of telekinesis, and the statue's carrying me while I'm laying on my back.
All right, yeah. Kringle kind of sluices through the thing's fingers as he just sort of is almost ooze-like himself. All right, so some time's going to pass. You have, in your own ways, successfully done this. Now, June, the turtles have a mixed reaction. They were kind of happy that everyone got to work out their frustrations. However, it did cause quite a drain on their medical supplies. And I guess we'll see what the reputation is to come. But you did at least get people from going around grumbling and spreading more. If they're unconscious, they can't complain. And so there's that as well, and they're just happy that they were able to provide a distraction because no amount of solstice decorations. Oh, go ahead.
If after I'm done fighting, if I can set up fights for other people and make up stories this guy's from North Australia or something, and he weighs 2,000 and do this sort of manager stuff.
All right, so you implant the idea, perhaps create a tournament. You create a tournament schedule, and perhaps there will be some kind of future contests to be held on Turtle Island for people to come out and fight or compete. Maybe everyone will try and design T-shirts on a remote island that's tropical, and see which T-shirt wins. It's just stuff like that.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a really good party. Anyway, so time's going to pass. The waters are actually going to now turn into slushy, and it's going to start dissipating. And the turtle can once more start kind of swimming or moving along the bottom, creating a nice current. It is still cold, but everything isn't super frozen. There are many grumpy turtles still. It's just that whatever had locked everything up has been undone, and it seems that Zuzip's loyal crew has, in fact, given the best repair to Zuzip's ship as possible, and you all can board once more.
All right, I do so.
That's
Yes.
convenient.
And
I don't know if that was actually convenient. I think we worked really hard for that.
I didn't work that hard. It was terrifying. Sorry, go ahead, narrator.
you board the ship, and when you do, you actually get to meet a pink-haired, well, hair is an interesting term, a pink-topped Florin, who identifies herself as Zuzip in a bit of a husky voice. You are welcomed aboard, and you are informed that the VIPs are warm and well. However, due to she is aware by trying to contact her lover and through other means that things like sendings or other communications and teleportation is encountering a lot of resistance, some troubles, and so to try and get to Bartholomew's shop with the precious cargo, it's going to take a little bit longer, but she intends to sail from Turtle Island. Let me make sure I'm not making the mark. So from Turtle Island up here to the shore, and then hopefully you all can deliver the cargo back to Bartholomew's shop.
Very good.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds great. What's the cargo?
She hesitates a bit. The cargo, very precious. It is.
Everyone's being really vague about what the cargo is. Which is making me.
Don't you remember what
confused.
Bartholomew said back in the shop?
No, I
he
didn't.
had-
I wasn't listening. I'm
Remember?
sorry.
He had the meeting that he was wanting with the peoples?
I believe he said it was a mother and daughter.
Here, we don't talk about the supply.
Son, actually, clarifies Zuzip. But that's all I can get into. I was sent, she uses I was sent to a place called Earth to fetch a mother and child that apparently is able to maybe break this cold. She gives a bit of a shiver.
Oh, they're supposed to break the cold. See, I was suspicious that Bartholomew caused the cold. No, this is good. Okay.
How are they
I
gonna
don't want to say
break
he
the-
didn't. However, this could be a method to fix it.
How are they going to break the cold?
She shrugs. Magic?
That sounds correct. All right, let's go.
No, I buy it.
All right. So what we're gonna do? Let's take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we are going to be sailing towards the shore, and we'll see what ends up happening on the way, as we are going to go into the latter part of tonight's program. So for all of you out there in audience land, get a drink, a snack. We'll be back in maybe 10 minutes or so, and we'll find out where things go from here.